$1 million budget project is being executed. To date, the planned value is $950,000, the actual cost is $930,000, and the earned value is $960,000. Solution: A, ahead of schedule and under budget. CVAAC 960 930 030. SVAV PV 960 950 010. Positive cost variance means under budget, and positive schedule variance means ahead of schedule. CPI EVIAC 960 930 1.3. SPI EVPV 960 950 1.1. The CPI is 1.3 and the SPI is 1.1. Positive CPI and SPI indicate the project is ahead of schedule and under budget. During project execution, the project manager realizes that a team member is not completing tasks in accordance with the project management plan. What is the first action the project manager should take? Solution: D, engage the team member to determine the reasons for poor performance. Project manager must identify changes in the behavior of each team member and help them to achieve the goals of the project. The other answer choices are incorrect. There is no indication that the team is matrixed or non-matrixed. This has no bearing on an individual's performance. Asking other team members to focus on the ask or adding team members may not be the most efficient means to accomplish the task. A project manager is assigned to join a mega industrial project already underway. The latest performance indices are SPI 0.42 and SPI 0.20. This project is Solution: D, behind schedule and over budget. Cost Performance Index, CPI less than 1 indicates over budget. CPI greater than 1 is under budget. Schedule Performance Index, SPI, less than 1 indicates behind schedule. SPI greater than 1 is ahead of schedule. This project is over budget and behind schedule. Multiple stakeholders have identified an issue regarding one of the project's deliverables and bring their dissatisfaction to the project's manager. What should the project manager do next? Solution: D, review the final scope statement. Acceptance criteria is part of scope planning and management. Not all requirements initially collected will be in the final scope statement. The risk management plan does not address the question. The project manager may meet with the stakeholders after they have reviewed the final scope statement and understand the acceptance criteria as it was agreed to. A project manager is working on an agile project. The project has 100 user stories broken down into 10 iterations. Each user story is worth $100. The actual expenditure is $4,500 and 50 user stories have been delivered after 5 iterations. Solution: B. The project is on schedule and is under budget. The project is on schedule because after 5 iterations, 50 user stories have been delivered. It is under budget because the actual expenditure of $4,500 is less than the expected expenditure of $5,000. A project manager is hired by an organization and is given a project that has a vague scope and unclear deliverable requirements. Solution: A. Set up the project team and schedule a meeting with the team and the sponsor to clarify the scope. The project manager should first meet with the project team and sponsor to define and clarify the vague scope. Then, they can develop the project plan based on the established scope by breaking down the deliverables and requirements. Escalating to the PMO deflects responsibility and does not help the project manager understand the scope. The company's top executives are embarking on a pivotal project that holds immense importance for the organization's future. This project involves a comprehensive overhaul of their production system. Given the project's high-risk nature, the executives emphasize that its success is non-negotiable. Solution: C. Ensuring unanimous agreement among stakeholders and the project sponsor about the project plan, scope, and deliverables. The project manager should prioritize ensuring that all key stakeholders and the project sponsor are on the same page regarding the project's plan, scope, and deliverables. Establishing a clear vision that key stakeholders agree on is the most important step to take at the beginning of any project, especially a high-risk one. Defining and sharing a clear vision at the start of the project can enable good relationships and alignment throughout the project. This alignment sets a strong foundation for project success and minimizes the risk of misunderstandings or scope changes later on. The other answer options are important steps in the project management process, but they should not be prioritized as the initial step. Before focusing on project rollout, communication management plans, or collaboration with other teams, it's essential to establish a solid foundation through stakeholder agreement on project fundamentals. The project manager can address all of these actions once everyone is in agreement about the project plan, scope, and deliverables. An organization has just been shortlisted to win a project for implementing 3 magnetic resonance units in the main hospital for the country. The hospital's CEO asked the project manager for an updated proposal where the implementation time is reduced by 30%. Solution: A. Hospital radiology team. The project manager should consult with the hospital radiology team to obtain their insights and expertise regarding the implementation of the magnetic resonance units. They can provide valuable input on the specific requirements, technical aspects, and potential challenges involved in the implementation process. By involving the radiology team, the project manager can gather realistic information and identify opportunities for reducing the implementation time without compromising the quality or safety of the project. The other answer choices are incorrect. In this scenario, the project team, project sponsor, and hospital procurement officer may not have all the relevant information to reduce the implementation time for the magnetic resonance units. A local government passes a law that affects the scope of a project that is currently in the execution phase. The regulation change was unforeseen and will take effect within weeks of the law passing. The project manager knows that the project schedule and budget will be impacted as a result. Solution: D. Seek expert judgment to assess the impact of the regulation change on the project schedule and budget. Seeking expert judgment allows the project manager to access specialized knowledge and experience to accurately assess the regulatory change's impact. The regulation change may be complex or have unintended consequences, so it is important to seek expert judgment from someone who understands the new law and its potential impact on the project. Immediately halting the project may not be necessary and could result in significant delays and increased costs. The project manager should first seek to understand the impact of the regulation change before taking action. Delegating the responsibility for assessing the impact of a significant regulatory change without proper guidance and oversight is risky. The regulation change may have complex implications, and the project manager should be actively involved in assessing its impact. Proceeding with a project as planned could put the project at risk of non-compliance, legal issues, and budget overruns. A large project involving functional groups in 4 countries is nearing completion. The project manager is meeting with the functional managers to prepare closeout documents. Solution: A. Because the project sponsor is responsible for procuring funding and committing resources to the project. The sponsor provided the resources for the project. Thus, it is their responsibility to officially sign off on the project deliverables. The sponsor may not be the one to communicate directly with the customer. Geographically dispersed would not be a hindrance to signing off on the deliverables. Functional managers provide management oversight for a functional unit, but may not have the authority to approve project objectives or final deliverables. During a project team meeting, the project manager notices a conflict between 3 key team members who have very different personalities. Solution: D. Identify the root cause of the conflict and support a resolution between the team members. Before taking any action, it is important to understand the root cause of the conflict. This will help the project manager to develop the most effective solution. The project manager can gather information by talking to the team members individually, observing their interactions, and reviewing relevant documentation. The other answer choices are incorrect. Planning a team-building event where different personality types are required to solve problems is a good idea in general. But it is not the first step that the project manager should take when addressing a conflict between team members. Reminding the team members that as professionals, emotions should not impair their work performance is unlikely to address the underlying conflict between the team members. Assigning project tasks to avoid contact between a project manager for an important agile project has a key stakeholder who was actively involved at the beginning of the project. Early in the project, the stakeholder received a promotion and has significantly reduced their participation in the project. Nearing the end of the project, the stakeholder did not accept a deliverable, resulting in significant rework that threatens the project deadline. Solution: B. Monitor the stakeholder attributes and make necessary adjustments to engage the key stakeholder actively. The key stakeholder became less involved as the project progressed. The project manager should have analyzed the changes in the stakeholder attributes and take appropriate action by engaging him/her actively. Updating the risk management plan is incorrect as the promotion of the stakeholder is not a risk to the project. The project manager does not need to approach project sponsor to manage stakeholder engagement. And the project manager would not recommend the removal of a stakeholder. Moving from a traditional to an incentive-based model enables remote workers to be more self-sufficient. Solution: C. Confidence and trust. Confidence and trust are the most important qualities for virtual teams. In the physical office, employees tend to work hard because they are being monitored by their managers. Working virtually may lead to issues because of the lack of surveillance. Having confidence and trust in a team to do their best work from home is key, and rewarding with incentives promotes hard work. After completing a project, the team meets to conduct a lessons learned session. During this meeting, the team sees that all deliverables were completed to the defined parameters. However, during the testing, there were a large number of errors identified. Solution: C. Conducted a Monte Carlo analysis which will determine potential outcomes and responses. Variability risks are uncertainties about the characteristics of a planned event to a decision. The number of errors found during testing may be higher or lower than expected. This is a variability risk. They can't be identified and managed because they are non-event related. The project manager can use a Monte Carlo analysis with the range of variation as probability distributions and actions to reduce the impact of this risk on the outcome. Since variability risks cannot be identified and managed, they would not have a mitigation strategy or be in the risk register. Since the project is completed and the deliverables met the parameters, there is no need to understand the testing methods further. A project manager is managing a credit card acceptance software project. During testing, it is learned that the application cannot accept foreign credit cards, making the application nearly useless. The team leader had entered a user story that said customer can pay using credit card, but it was put into the backlog as too large for the sprint. Solution: A. Ensure that a detailed user story was presented to the project team. If foreign credit card acceptance is a key feature, then it should have been identified as such and prioritized and refined accordingly. The project manager should have ensured that a detailed user story was presented to the project team early, specifying acceptable credit cards. During a high-risk project, several risks have been materialized and responses have been implemented. However, the project still appears to be in trouble. The project manager is concerned that the risk management rules are not being carried out as specified. Solution: C. Request a risk audit. Periodic risk audits help to identify the strengths and weaknesses in handling risks. This entails identifying any barriers to the effectiveness of the risk management process. Risk audits evaluate whether or not the risk management rules are being carried out as specified, and whether or not they are adequate. These audits can help to determine whether or not the process is still relevant and is being used effectively. The other options are incorrect because they do not address the core issue. Transferring the risks may not be appropriate and does not solve any process-based issues or weaknesses. Updating the risk register is not applicable at this stage because it has not yet been determined why the project seems to be in trouble. Risk analysis defines the characteristics of a risk and the degree to which it can impact objectives. In this case, there is no clear indication as to why the project appears to be in trouble, so risk analysis is not an effective way to identify the weaknesses of the risk management process. The project sponsors for a multinational project have put a process in place that generates emails and reports at the end of each phase. The goal is to ensure the project remains unified across the company. The company plans to use the process as a model for future, similar projects. Solution: A. Update the communications management plan to include details about the emails and reports. The communication management plan can include templates for project status meetings, project team meetings, and email messages.